friend of mine, Dr. Elliott, asked me once, who was the fullest sports hero I had met? As my friend asked me that question, sports hero, it kind of bothered me. So I focused on that term hero. I told my friend Dr. Elliott that I'd get back to him for my answer to the fullest sports hero I had. When I thought about the word hero, I researched the Merriam-Webster definition of hero. And it's defined as courageous, noble, or self-sacrificing action or behavior. And I knew by reading that definition that none of the sports figures that I had met qualified. That I had met during my doctoral studies. His name was Edgar Harrell. Edgar Harrell was on the ship to Indianapolis in World War II. So I actually met those guys. I met Edgar Harrell at a church. He spoke on veterans. And I actually met several other survivors of that ship. And that's what the topic, the title of my talk is. The lessons that I learned in Indianapolis survivor that helped me in my doctoral program. But what I wanted to share with you was the lessons that I learned from my research and from interviewing those guys that helped me through my doctoral study. I broke it down into 4 lessons. And the first was perseverance. Now, obviously, that's almost cliche. You have to be able to persevere to get something. But I was more concerned with how they were able to persevere. And many of them focused on faith in God, getting through that ordeal.
Oh, yeah.
Several of them had a girlfriend back home. And then, some of them just didn't want to disappoint their parents. So that's what kind of drove them through to get through that work. And I don't like to call it an X factor. What can you focus on to get you something that hard? And for my X factor in my doctoral program, I wouldn't do it because not a lot of people thought I could. I wanted to prove people wrong, and I wanted a certain career. And I knew that a doctoral degree in academy would help get you. I had to persevere too, right? We all have it. As those men would see shipmates pass away over 4 days, I think most of my doctoral studies doing a COVID-19 pandemic. I would see grandparents pass away, I've had friends pass away, other relatives pass away during this really hard time for everyone. And the things that people also want to tell you about, is the degree worth it? Is the debt worth it? Are you going to get what you want from it? I mean, you always hear people chirp about, going back to school at my age isn't worth it. But the X factor that I had for myself, I persevered and kept going. The second lesson I learned from Indianapolis survivor was perspective. I really looked at my situation, is the coursework, yeah, it's challenging. Is the dissertation to write, yeah, it's challenging. Is working multiple jobs to get a degree, sacrificing things, it's challenging. But is it challenging compared with those guys that is it even in the same ballpark? No, it's not. The third lesson that I learned was teamwork. And this is a really important. When those guys were in the water together, they would cluster into groups of 12 to 15. And they would share each other's rafts, they would share each other's life jackets, they would talk each other down from drinking salt water, which made you hallucinate. They would basically talk you from just giving up. So they worked in teams the whole time. A lot of them did. That's what it took to get through that work. And when I reflect on my doctoral studies, I had a great team here. I had a president who loved sports, whose dad gave us this opportunity in 1972. I had a very supportive administration. I had my chair of my dissertation, Dr. Stradley, Dr. Marty were great administrators. I had Hina when I did my email password reset like 714 times, like you called her. And I also had my faculty work at the university that I teach at, Midway University. Extremely supportive. I had my family and friends. And I had actually my gym clients, so the gym that I teach or that I train at, was my internship at the academy, my program. Believe it or not, that's a huge support system. I had a supportive partner too, who was very patient with me when she knew I had to work. And the fourth one was self-awareness. And through my research, I came across one survivor named Paul McGinnis. And Paul would actually go off by himself during that moment. Because he was self-aware to know that he had to be isolated. He couldn't get through that. And around all the negativity, around all the things going on around him. So even where teamwork worked for a lot of people, he was self-aware to know that he had to be by himself. So he went off by himself, he made it. And I think, looking back at my doctoral experience, there was a lot of times I had to be by myself. And there were a lot of times I had to tell people no. I had to sit in a room by myself and write a dissertation, or I couldn't go out, to this event with my friends, or I couldn't do this with my family. Because I was self-aware, I knew what I had to do to be successful. So in conclusion, that's my narrative, that's my story. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Rosnich, Dr. Cromartie, the rest of the faculty, staff, United States Sports Academy, Dr. Bradley, made this experience a great thing. It's a very positive. So I got back to my friend, finally, who asked me about sports here at Dr. Billett. And I had an answer for him. I said, men on the U.S. Indianapolis, guys that I met are heroes in every single interpretation of that word possible. Their sacrifice in the success of that mission saved millions of people as an invasion of Japan would have been catastrophic. Both Allied, both Japanese kids. One of those was my grandfather, who was training in Hawaii, who was a signalman in the Navy, who was more than likely going to very high parachute. So, in conclusion, I'd like to say that I chose this university because I love sports. And I love sports because of people like me. The only reason I got to live my dream and be here today was because people like Kate are here.